This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, our very special episode, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry, quote unquote. Our guest this evening, Colin Flaherty. He is the author of the bestseller, White Girl Bleed a Lot, and the author of the new book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. Colin Flaherty, welcome back to the Glazov Gang.
Honored to be back with you, Jamie.
Okay, thank you. Colin, let's begin. Tell us about your new book.
Don't Make the Black Kids Angry is about black on white crime and black mob violence. So I document this all over the country, how reporters and public officials ignore, deny, condone, excuse, encourage, and even lie about it. So many videos, so much deceit, so much deception. That's what the books are about.
Okay, and how about White Girl Bleed a Lot?
Well, White Girl Bleed a Lot was my first book, so that covered events from a couple of years ago. So I had to, so Don't Make the Black Kids Angry is about stuff that's happened a lot more recently, a lot more videos, a lot more detail, both about the violence and the denial.
Well, Colin, it's not often that there's truth-telling, as we know, by our media and by many of the social critics and filmmakers, etc. But there was a hint of truth recently, just whispered almost very quickly by Spike Lee. Breitbart.com followed this and reported on it, a story by Jerome Hudson, titled, Spike Lee calls out Black Lives Matter, quote, you can't ignore that we are killing ourselves too. So look, Spike Lee, in the story, it reports how he had told CNN's Anderson Cooper that he's all for Black Lives Matter, but that, quote, we as a people can't be blind to black on black crime. So there was a moment of honesty there from Spike Lee about black on black crime. What did you think of it?
Well, I'm glad when we catch somebody like Spike Lee telling the truth, because most of the time he's participating in what I call the greatest lie of our generation, which is that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything, especially why cops are always picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. And so when I heard that quote from Spike, the first thing I thought of was something at the YMCA, which I wrote about in Don't Make the Black Kids Angry, how he's at the New York YMCA last year telling everybody about the evils of gentrification because it's going to bring too many white people into his old neighborhood. I mean, he's very explicit about it.
Right. So, Colin, tell us a bit about what's happening in Chicago. There's a turf war there, chaos, violence, killing, and our media doesn't talk much about it.
You know, Chicago is such an easy target. There is so much black crime, so much black mob violence on South Chicago in the black neighborhoods. I mean, you almost kind of run out of ways to talk about it. So I don't talk that much about that particular part of it. What I do talk about is the black on white crime in Chicago going into neighborhoods that have never seen before, like the Magnificent Mile, this upscale thing that is now the target of violence from large groups of black people going into shops, robbing people, defying cops. I get a lot of email from cops in Chicago, and they're convinced that nobody knows how bad the violence is there.
Thank you, Colin. And look, in terms of Spike Lee and what we were just recently talking about, that whisper of truth about black on black crime. But what's interesting is that while he touches on black crime, which isn't discussed in our media, he doesn't talk about black on white crime. And as you've shown, this is the major phenomenon, and it's the phenomenon that our media is avoiding.
And it's weird because the black on white is 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 times greater than white on black. But you pick up the newspaper every day, and every newspaper is reporting the same story, that black people are victims of white racism and white violence. This is an enormous deception. I think it's gone past deception. I think we're now into delusion. That's how bad it is. That's why I put up all the videos on my YouTube channel.
Right, and in terms of statistics, what you show, in terms of actual numbers, the empirical reality, the documentation of numbers, if there was a label of a movement that was legitimate and justified in terms of the numbers, it would be a White Lives Matter movement. Because as your book demonstrates, it's the whites that are being killed and abused and that are the victims of violence in terms of numerically, in terms of this being actually the huge phenomenon that's being avoided and ignored by our media.
That's an enormous problem. Like, it started out, a few weeks ago, right? Everybody was talking about Mizzou, the University of Missouri, about the racism at the University of Missouri. Just a week before all that happened, I did a big video and a story talking about how we now have to add another university to the list of urban campuses where black violence is a big problem for white students. There were like a dozen attacks on a trail, lots of robberies. And if you look at the campus police reports, if you look at the city of Columbia, Missouri police reports, you'll see 9 out of 10, 95 out of 100 of these crimes are black on white. But yet somehow the people in Missouri have convinced us that it's white on black. Jamie, you know what? The analogy is exactly similar to the deception and delusion we see in reporting on Islam.
Colin, where does the quote come for your book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry? Give us the background, please.
Well, in Kansas City, for years, large groups of black kids have been going to a place called Country Club Plaza. It's what's an upscale shopping district, right? So they go there Friday, Saturday night, they destroy property, they attack shoppers, they stop traffic, they steal stuff, they defy cops. Lots of video on this. So the former mayor of Kansas City, his name is Emmanuel Cleaver, he was back in town just for something else. A reporter caught up to him and he said, hey, they're thinking about putting a curfew on the plaza to stop all this violence. So Congressman Cleaver said, oh, don't do that. That's just going to make a lot of black kids angry. So can't make the black kids angry.
Thank you, Colin. Look, how do you explain this mass delusion? We've got the situation where the perpetrators have made themselves the victims in terms of, symbolically and the propaganda war. This is a typical Marxist agenda, correct?
You're absolutely right. And so here's the thing, Jamie. I don't try to explain it. I just want to expose it. That's why I do a lot of video now, because the video, what are you going to say? The videos are lying? And so we just have to keep exposing it. At some point, we'll get one of these guys, we'll put them on a psychiatrist's couch, or we'll waterboard them, and we'll figure out why they're doing this insanity.
Right. Well, look, you do an incredible job in your book, Colin. You document over 1,000 instances of black mob violence spanning just the last few years, and the media just won't mention it.
It's happening every day. There's horrific examples of black violence against seniors, against women, old, young, against gay people, and their press is they're just finding new ways to ignore it, deny it. But it's getting so bad. There are a lot of people, Jamie, just like what you're covering with the Muslims. There's a lot of people that are speaking the truth and demanding the truth. So that's something good.
Colin Flaherty, it is always an honor and a privilege to speak to a brave and noble truth teller in our culture war today.
I'm looking forward to joining you out on the Santa Monica Mall one of these nights. So.
Okay, thank you very much, Colin. It was a pleasure, and we hope that you'll come back on the Glazov Gang soon.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Colin. And to all of our viewers, make sure you get Colin Flaherty's new book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry, The Hoax of Black Victimization and Those Who Enable It. And we're very grateful for you tuning into the Glazov Gang. If you like this show and appreciate our themes and our efforts to get the truth out, please go to jamieglazov.com and support our program. And make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel of the Glazov Gang. And we'll see you on the next edition of the Glazov Gang. Good night.